What's going on, everyone? So, Jez Corden has written an article here that is very interesting that piqued my interest. It made me think about certain things about what Microsoft's going to be doing with the official next gen Xbox, the official next gen handheld, and how these results speak volumes on a lot of things. So, are you ready to get into this? This is going to be an interesting one. So, here it says, "And an embarrassment for Microsoft, Steam operating system seems to destroy Windows 11 on gaming performance and battery life, as well as usability." Yeah, the Steam operating system has less bloat on it. Windows is used for a lot of other things, non-gaming related. So that's why I've always thought even Windows gaming mode and some of the stuff, it's like I kind of feel like the stuff you think you need to upgrade your computer, it's because it's not optimized enough with the AI stuff, and on top of Windows bloat. You add that all in, you're paying more for than what you actually need, and it's kind of a little bit scummy. They know what they're doing, but let's get into this. The first direct and natively supported comparison between identical Windows 11 and Steam operating system gaming hardware is here. And it's pretty much a bloodbath for Microsoft. So basically, what we're about to see is how much better does the Steam operating system perform than the Microsoft operating system? And could Microsoft be using the Steam operating system for the next official Xbox? And if not, why they should, and how that would benefit them, and they would be able to get all PlayStation games easier that way. So let's go down here. So we see down here on this page, we have the white Lenovo Legion Go S for Windows, and then we have the black Legion Go with Steam operating system. We see that right here. All right, so it says this will most likely come as a shock to nobody, but in early head-to-head comparisons with official support on identical hardware, Steam operating system seems to run rings around Windows 11 for gaming performance. Ooh, man, this is going to be interesting. Steam operating system presents something of an existential threat to Microsoft and Windows 11. So, existential threat to Microsoft and Windows 11, at least with gaming consumers. As Microsoft doubles down on making Windows 11 bloated, I've said this before. That's why certain people like Sony, they use Linux. They don't use that. Asians usually use Linux or whatever. Bloated with features nobody really asked for. Performance has taken a hit. It's annoying. Definitely when you add in stuff too on top of that, like people trying to force the Nouveau on top of that, background resources trying to force Windows Explorer, which is garbage or whatever it's called today, on top of like, well, you need Windows Defender. That's actually amazing now. But just a lot of other stuff that's in the background to where you got to go inside of the processes and see all these things and see what the hell's really going on. You're like, yeah, none of this I need to use. Why the hell is this using up all these resources, man? It's annoying. And that's definitely in Windows 11. Definitely depending on what brand you get too. Like if you get some bloated software that has some stuff running like Armory Crate, which is not as bad as other stuff, but depending on like if it's Lenovo or whatever, all that comes too with along with Windows stuff, man. You need to make sure you tune down all of that stuff. And there's some people that just don't know. So yeah. Okay, so getting back to the subject, Steam operating system presents something of an essential threat. So we've seen that Windows 11 remains the world's most popular operating system by a country mile. But Microsoft's approach to user privacy and bloatware has customers looking for alternatives in increasing numbers. Yeah, there's people that will do that. Linux being fully open source is increasingly becoming the de facto alternative option. Just talking about that. It was once held back by its compatibility with PC games, but thanks to Valve and Steam operating system Proton Layer, those days are increasingly in the past. So I'm wondering, what Microsoft think if I want to get the best optimization and get better technology and get better performance than people playing on average PCs? Should I do something about that Steam operating system on Xbox? The next gen one. Or maybe their handheld. Never know. Official, by the way. Times for flowers. The Xbox Game Bar for Windows 11 is getting better. Steam operating system. End of 10 urges Windows 10 users to consider Linux. With compatibility solved for the vast majority of games on Steam, users have been eager to figure out if the Steam operating system offers greater performance. So here we're about to get an answer for here. Are we ready? So let's go down. So Dave, 2D Legion Go S performance comparisons. 46 frames per second on the Windows version, 59 frames, almost 60 frames on the Legion Steam. That's a 14 frames per second almost difference between the operating systems. And Cyberpunk going from 46 frames to 59, almost 60, yeah, that's freaking big. 65 frames per second on Helldivers 2, 70 on Steam's operating system, 5 frames per second difference. 66 frames on Doom Eternal, 75 on Steam operating system. That's almost a 10 frames per second difference. Again, we almost saw 14 here, 10 here. There's not much difference between Spider-Man 2. Okay. And then Witcher 3, we're seeing, once again, a 10 difference of frames per seconds here. This makes a difference when you're, let's say if you played a game and you were struggling to hit 30 barely, you're getting 29, 28, you know what I mean? And then you got this operating system saying, hey, man, I'm getting 36, 37 over here. That's going to matter. I got a fidelity mode, right, that I can add in because of that. I mean, this tells you the difference, and this is game performance of bloat here. So what do you guys think about this? Should Microsoft considering working with Valve to maybe see what they're doing to make their operating system improve? Because they're obviously not going to drop their operating system, but I think they should consider maybe having a Steam operating console with Microsoft theme. I don't know. Maybe that's what they should do for their consoles. We'll find out, right? Because this right here, I mean, it's not like 1 or 2 frames. We're seeing 13, 10. And it says, in a pretty brutal video by Dave 2D, we get a glimpse now at just how much performance can differ between the Windows 11 and Steam operating versions of the Legion Go S. When the Legion Go S initially launched with the Windows 11, it was criticized for its performance and battery life. Oh yeah, not to mention, not only are you performing better, but you have better battery life. Oh my God, that's just major. So imagine getting 9, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13 more frames in a game and getting better battery life in handheld mode. So the reason why he made this is because this kind of gives people an idea of, could Microsoft's official Xbox be SteamOS operated or handheld? And they will get better battery life and be a better pricing value. I think that would be cool if they would go for that, but they're not going to go for that, right? No, we don't think they're going to do that, right? When a Legion Go S initially launched with Windows 11, it was criticized for its performance and battery life. The Z1 Extreme Legion Go from yesteryear seemed like a far better option in almost every regard, save for ergonomics. Now, in partnership with Valve, the Legion Go S with SteamOS is here, and it makes it a far better case for the hardware within. Yeah, you wonder why they would say, yeah, let's just do a Steam operating system too, instead of just sticking with Windows. There was a reason for that. Now we see the two comparisons. All we're seeing here is operating system differences because it's the same thing. It's the same console. It's like me taking a PlayStation 5 and putting Windows on it and then looking at the Linux differences and taking an Xbox, right? Series X, and saying, let's put a Steam operating system on this, and let's just look at it like this, and then let's do some head-to-head comparisons like Digital Foundry does and all that, and you're going to be like, wow, so this is a difference in gaming performance. We're not talking about maybe security and all this other stuff between the two. So not only am I getting gaming performance increase, but I'm getting battery life increase. And that makes a difference in the handheld world, which is why we're using this here. Perhaps even more damning was Dave's 2D analysis of battery life. Running 2D games, the Legion Go S with Steam absolutely destroyed Windows, offering slightly over 6 hours of gameplay compared to 2 hours and 75 minutes. No, 2.75 hours, sorry. Almost doubled its battery. Oh my God. This operating system is way better for gaming than. Talk about getting destroyed. You not only get more frames, but you get double the battery life. Oh my God, y'all. Yeah, this says a lot. So yeah, Valve, they have a really good operating system. Battery performance on higher end games like Cyberpunk 2077 was relatively similar. Okay, but the fact that you can grab immense battery gains on graphically light side-scrolling titles is an indicate of Windows 11 battery efficiency in general. Yeah, definitely people are doing like stuff like emulation. Think about that, because that's basically what he's just saying, because that's indie pretty much, right? Not everybody has to play a super AAA, demanding game. Some people like their indie games, because in handheld mode, there's not going to be a difference between docked, and because it's an indie and it's an old game, it doesn't matter. It's running at max performance on that anyways. That's what I love about the Switch 2 Retro experience. Like they just talked about like an old Ridge Racer game that was on 64 getting some type of performance, or on GameCube, and because they have an online service with the retro community, you can play retro games online, on the go, or docked with a good amount of battery life, enhanced at 60 frames, and upscaled. And that gives you a unique online retro community. Whereas, like, if you tried those games on anything else, you're just playing it locally from a ROM. But in their world, you can play games that were only local now online and enhanced. It's an awesome online enhanced retro community that I really like. But getting back to this, do you guys think that Microsoft should think about learn some tricks from Valve on the operating system, or they should use the operating system of Steam mixed with an Xbox Steam console? So let me know what you guys think about that. That's why I kind of wanted to get into this video and talk about what Jez basically was highlighting here, because I thought this was some interesting stuff. Man, what a difference here, huh? So yeah, Microsoft hopefully watches this and sees that the Steam operating system is basically embarrassing them. Definitely in handheld portability, when we talk about not only are we getting maybe 10-15% increase in frames, but also a 100% increase in battery life. What? Damn. All right, y'all. Peace out. Have a great day.